One morning, a patient wakes up and walks to the mirror, but something feels wrong. One side of the face refuses to move. The smile is crooked. One eye won't close properly. Worried, she rushed to the hospital. A young doctor examined her face and wondered, is it Bell's palsy or stroke? The answer lies in the level of lesion of the facial nerve, upper motor neuron or lower motor neuron. Bell's palsy is an acute, idiopathic, unilateral lower motor neuron paralysis of the facial nerve. It causes sudden weakness or paralysis of the muscles of facial expression on the one side of the face. It is the most common cause of unilateral facial paralysis, accounting for about 60 to 75% of cases. To understand this, we need to look at the anatomy of facial nerve. The upper motor neurons carries command from the brain to the facial nucleus in the pons, while lower motor neuron carries motor impulses from facial nucleus to the muscles of facial expression. From facial nucleus, the nerve fibers exit the brainstem at pontomedullary junction and enter the internal acoustic meatus. The nerves travels through the facial canal in the temporal bone and finally exit the skull through the stylomastoid foramina. From here, the nerve is spread across the face to supply the muscles of facial expression, the muscles that allow us to show emotions and communicate without words. But facial nerve does more than just move the face. It also carries taste from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue, parasympathetic fibers to salivary and lacrimal glands, motor supply to stapedius muscle in the middle ear helping to regulate the sound. But there is an anatomical trap. After leaving the brainstem, the facial nerve enters a narrow bony tunnel in the temporal bone called the facial canal. Normally, the nerve passes through this canal without difficulty, but if the nerve becomes inflamed, it begins to swell. The facial canal is rigid bone and bone cannot expand. So the swollen nerve becomes compressed inside the tunnel and its signal to the muscle becomes disrupted. The result is sudden weakness or paralysis of facial muscle on the same side of face, and the condition is known as Bell's palsy. In most cases, the exact cause of Bell's palsy remains unknown. However, a widely accepted explanation is viral reactivation. Viruses such as herpes simplex or varicella zoster can become active again, causing inflammation of facial nerve. Occasionally, trauma such as temporal bone fracture may also damage the nerve. The most obvious feature is sudden weakness of entire half of the face, including the forehead. The patient may notice drooping of the mouth, loss of forehead wrinkle, inability to close the eye, loss of nasolabial fold, difficulty in smiling, and drooling. The face appears asymmetrical and expressionless on one side. Other symptoms may include altered or loss of taste from anterior two-thirds of tongue, reduced salivation or lacrimation, hyperacusis due to paralysis of stapedius muscle. But an important question remains, could this be a stroke? So let's compare Bell's palsy with a stroke. A stroke produces an upper motor neuron lesion. Here, the lower part of contralateral side of face is affected and forehead is typically spared. In contrast, Bell's palsy is a lower motor neuron lesion. Here, both the upper and lower part of the ipsilateral side of face are affected. The key to this difference lies in the organization of facial motor nucleus. The facial nucleus is divided into two parts. Upper part supplies the muscle of upper face, especially the forehead. Lower part supplies the muscle of lower face. But their cortical control is not the same. The upper part receives input from both cerebral hemispheres called bilateral cortical innervation. But the lower part receives input only from the opposite hemisphere. So when a stroke damages one hemisphere, the other hemisphere can still supply the forehead muscles, leaving the forehead movement preserved. But in Bell's palsy, the lesion occurs in facial nerve itself. So all the muscle of that side of face loses their nerve supply. As the result, the entire half of the face becomes paralyzed. Diagnosis is clinical based on characteristic facial weakness Additional investigation may include electromyography test, MRI or CT to rule out structural cause like tumor or trauma. Treatment typically includes corticosteroids to reduce nerve inflammation, eye protection and lubricating drops to prevent corneal damage, in some cases antiviral medication. Recovery usually begins within a few weeks, and many patients regain normal facial functions within 3 or 6 months. Simple observation, whether the forehead is involved or spared, help clinician to differentiate Bell's palsy from the stroke. Stroke respect the forehead, Bell's palsy doesn't.